Good evening, everyone. Good evening, YouTube, ladies and gentlemen from across the world. Thanks for coming along tonight. Welcome to Our Paramotor Nation here on PPG Gorilla's channel. We got a kind of a special show lined up tonight. We have Mr. Sandy Graves, the founder of ASAR National. And we're going to talk about airborne search and rescue using paramotors. So we're looking forward to that. Our panel tonight consists of Mr. David Wolf, Paramotor Crazy, coming to us from beautiful, snowy Ohio. He was just live a minute ago, and it's actually snowing there, right, David?
It is snowing. It's like a lot of snow coming down. Mike Fogel's in the chat. He's getting hit with the same stuff I am right now.
That is terrible.
Yeah, it's coming down in buckets.
Man, I feel horrible for you guys. That's awful.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
I was thinking about you when I was flying in a T-shirt today.
Yeah,
and we have also coming to us live from somewhere in Texas, Anthony Vella and his new girlfriend, Gracie.
Absolutely. Isn't she adorable?
Yeah, Dave Ruff, Trike Flyer. Thanks for joining us, man. That's Gracie, his new puppy that wandered into the best life a dog could ever wish for, I think. Is going to go and travel around the country with Dave and go to paramotor events and medieval fairs. So what a lucky dog.
Yeah, she I don't think she even knows what is in store for her. So she's going to Florida here in just about 3 weeks, and then Arizona just after that. We're going to go wander around the superstitions. And I've been getting asked a lot, is she going to be a paramotor dog? You know, if she doesn't mind it and I get a good harness, you never know.
And some ear protection. They do make ear protection for dogs.
Absolutely. So,
yeah,
and hey, guess what? Gorilla.
Yeah.
Unlike Dave, it's not snowing here.
Oh, I know. You have similar weather to us here in Florida, don't you?
Yeah, it was about 60, 65 degrees today.
Nice. Yeah.
It drives me crazy. It really does. When I'm seeing you guys and all the guys in Florida, even Aviator, it's like 60 degrees here. We're shivering. Oh, it's 40 degrees here. I'll give you 40 degrees, but even at 40 degrees, that's comfortable for us.
Yeah. Cool. We made a flight this morning. Alligator Rick came down from Jacksonville. He's hardcore. He drove last night. It's like a 3-hour drive. He drove down and actually slept at the airport. Him and his son, Ace, slept in the car. We woke him up this morning when we got to the field, and it was foggy as all get out. So we were fogged in for like a couple hours, but we did finally get off. And I got to take Alligator Rick over to see the sleeping giant, that dredge crane that he's been dying to see. So it was awesome. A great morning.
Yeah, so it's still there.
Still there, yep.
That's on my wish list when I get there.
Is that a permanent Is it a permanent fixture, Rick, or is it?
It's been there for as long as we've been flying to that airport, for like a year and a half, and it's an empty, abandoned, or closed down mine site. I don't know what they're doing with it. It's probably obviously a multi-million-dollar piece of equipment, but there's never anyone there. So we have the luxury of being able to fly down and fly around it low and everything else. So
awesome.
So very cool. Well, David Wolf, you want to tell us a little bit about our sponsors and what's going on tonight?
Yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to actually bring us over here. You should be able to see my other screen, right?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm actually going to go off the Our Paramotor Nation website. So if you haven't taken a look at it, come on back and check it out. I've done a lot of updates to it. I'm going to talk about this first, the Resurgence PPG 20 and 2020 campaign. We're going to talk about that in a second because that's pretty important, something we're going to be talking about quite a bit. But when you go down here, you'll be able to see some information on the upcoming show. Here's our show tonight, Airborne Search and Rescue. In addition to that, there is a website here that I believe Sandy put together. This is when you click on that link, you'll be able to go over there and see this. And I invite everybody to take a look at that later on after the show, learn more about what you're about to hear about tonight. It's really some exciting stuff that he's doing there too. Scrolling further down, I wish I had a calendar, but I could not find a calendar application to work on this. So when you come down here, you're going to see upcoming shows and events. So here's tonight's show. I will post, or whoever is hosting the show will post the link up on Facebook on the Our Paramotor Nation Facebook page. So if you haven't requested membership to that, go ahead and do that. All are welcome, almost all. Maybe not two, but everybody else is. And I'll also post it onto Facebook, the regular Paramotor page as well. But you can always come here and find the link as well. It seems like everybody had no trouble getting the notification from Rick that the show was going to be on tonight. I think he posted that yesterday. And you can hit the bell, so it gives you a reminder, which is great. If you didn't get one from me already, you can click on the December 12th show. There's the link right there for that. That's going to be a big show. That's going to be a really exciting show. I've gotten a bunch of phone calls already about that show. We're going to have one pilot that was self-trained, another pilot that was just recently trained at Flight Junkie, so free train, and another person that was trained out at Nebraska Paramotor, which is a Aviator Alliance school. So we're going to hear their stories, their experiences. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of questions. I've already got a ton of questions listed for all of them. But if you do have any questions, you can either go on to the website here in the comments and send me a question that you might want to have asked. Heck, you could even click on the link and probably go into the chat now or after the show and put your questions up there. And I'll make sure I get everybody's questions answered. December 29th, you can see right here, we've already got Eric Farewell booked for a show. I'm really excited to hear him speak about the STEM program, going out to the schools and teaching them about paramotors, all these young kids, which is great. In addition to the shows, as I find out more and more about fly-ins and any other events that are coming up, I'm going to be posting those dates here, so you'll be able to figure out or find out where shows are. So again, if you have a fly-in or know of a fly-in that's not listed here, you can send me a message at the bottom of the home screen here of the website, and I'll go ahead and post that in there. So you've got listed here, March 12th is Palm Bay, the Florida Fun Fest. And then on May 14th, Bad Apples fly-in, and I'll get some more information up there. Now, our sponsors, and I don't just say our sponsors to say their names, but we really appreciate everything that they do for us. Fly Mike PPG up in St. John, Michigan. You got Mike Cotter and Justin Fox and Bob. I know they're booking up quickly. Likewise is iFly Indiana, Kevin Kemble. Give him a call. He also gives a veterans discount as well. Pigeon Paramotor, Blake Pigeon. We just had him on a couple weeks ago. He's got a great YouTube channel. Check him out. He also sells these awesome paramotor stickers as well. I'm going to skip the next one. I'll come back to that in a second. But you've got Larry and the Bag Lady, Para Orange. They've got a ton of sales on their products right now. Go check them out as well. They're going to be giving away something from their, I don't know, I say catalog or website next week. On our show. There's actually going to be two giveaways next week. There's going to be something from Para Orange. It's going to be anything from a windsock to a quad. I don't think it's going to be a quad, but it might be. You never know. You'll have to show up and find out. But we appreciate everything they do. I'm going to go back here to Clearwater Pools. Craig Taylor is in the chat. And if you didn't hear on Robert's show this past Thursday night, what Craig Taylor did, it's just mind-blowing. Him and Yolanda, his wife, they're just two of the most giving people I've ever come in contact with. Craig is sponsoring 2 candidates in 2020 for Resurgence PPG. So if you're in the chat right now and you can hear me, give a little thumbs up for Craig. Tell him how much you appreciate what he does, and it just doesn't stop with that. It's all the stuff he does for Resurgence PPG is absolutely amazing. And by the way, if you've got a pool and you need it clean, call him also for Clearwater Pools. I'm not sure if you're going to be in his area, but you can call him anyways. Moving on down, if you want to be a sponsor or if you want to be any type of Patreon supporter, there's a place for you to do that. You just even have a couple bucks. And also, there's a spot here you can directly donate if you'd like to Resurgence PPG. It'll take you directly to the Resurgence PPG website. Moving down, we've had these documents here for a while in regards to some of the information that you might need to know about FAR 103. LZ preservation. There's actually a new PDF that I just put in here. It's paramotors at this airport trifold. This is something that Todd Falstad just created recently. If you fly out of a airfield that does have fixed wings, this is a great thing for you to print out and leave up there. Maybe if they have a bulletin board, you can leave a couple of those. Gives the fixed wing pilots more information, hopefully making them feel more comfortable with what we do as pilots of paramotors. And then down here at the bottom of the page, you can leave your name, your email, any message that you have to show, any updates that you'd like to see added as well. If you have any ideas for the show, by all means do that too. Up here at the top, you've got the store. And when you click on the store, you can get Our Paramotor Nation shirts, sweatshirts, t-shirts, stickers, mugs, everything. Same thing with Paramotor Crazy merchandise. Love for you to go ahead and see some Paramotor Crazy shirts out there. Don't worry about this PPG Gorilla merchandise. It's nothing interesting there. We started that Pi Gamma merchandise store not long ago too. So if you want to get a Pi Gamma shirt, you can do that. But let's go here to the Resurgence PPG 20 and 20. It's not only here in the shop, but it's also on that front page because this is a huge huge thing that we're doing for 2020. You can see here the shop here. This is what the logo looks like. I support 20 vets in 2020 Resurgence PPG. And the goal is this, very simple. We'd like to raise enough money to support 20 vets to go through the Resurgence program. Well, Craig Taylor's already counted for 2 of them, so we're down to 18 left. Every shirt, every sweatshirt that you get here will go into $10. All proceeds, 100% of the proceeds will go into supporting or going right to Resurgence PPG, every dollar. This is a wonderful hoodie that I just bought for myself. In addition to that, I picked up 3 of these die cut stickers. I love them. I'm going to keep one for myself. I think I picked up 4. And I'm going to keep one for myself for my trailer. And I'm going to give a couple away on the upcoming shows as soon as I receive them. So take a look at that. A lot of good stuff in there. Again, this isn't just a website that is put together. It's for everybody's use. We want everybody to make use out of it, get information. If there's information you'd like to see, it's a great common place to have it. So that's that. By the way, speaking of stickers, I got some stickers in the mail today from PPG Gorilla. There you look at you got there, Rick. You got a lot of them. But I want to read the card. It's that time of the year, sending Christmas cards out, and Rick sent me this Christmas card, and really nice, talking about friendship and Christmas. But then he ends it with this little PS here at the bottom. And I just want to read this to everybody, just so everybody knows what a big heart Gorilla has. PS, you owe me $12 for the stickers and $7 for shipping, you son of a bitch. Thank you, Rick.
Hey, Mike Fogel did these stickers for us, and they're awesome, man. Good job, Mike. Thank you very much.
Those look really sharp.
Yeah, they're nice. They're nice. I just wish I would have ordered more. I'm gonna have to put in another order here pretty soon. So good stuff. Good stuff. And that trifold, David, that was a lot of information in a hurry.
Yeah.
Very good job. But that trifold brochure that Todd did, I printed out a couple and put them in the pilot's lounge at our airport. It's nice. It has a point of contact where if one of the paramotor pilots wants to put their name and number on there or email, so if anybody has questions or concerns, they can contact them. I put mine out there, so nobody's complained yet.
Craig just made an interesting observation. He said, just a thought, but Resurgence PPG only has 178 subs. Guys, I'm showing, 51 of us in here right now. Let me put down a little challenge here is, go over there and definitely sub to Resurgence PPG. And then, guys, tell 5 of your friends. It's a great cause. We all support it. And, it's really going to help to get another 18 through in 2020.
By the way, there's going to be a video coming out here in the next couple days.
From Greg Anthony Harris?
What's that?
Greg Anthony Harris video?
No, not
Sweet. Oh, man. Have you seen some of his videos? Yeah.
No.
I mean, I actually unsubbed from that guy, Paramotor Crazy, just to watch Greg Anthony.
So did I. I can't take him anymore. Yeah. No, there's going to be a video coming out here very shortly. It's not going to be on my channel. It's actually going to be on the Resurgence YouTube channel, but it's going to be posted all over Facebook. This is a promotional video to really kick off the I Support 20 Vets in 2020 campaign. It's got a lot of familiar faces, a lot of YouTube familiar faces that you'll see on there, people people you watch. And even if you are not in a position to make a donation to Resurgence or purchase a shirt, sweatshirt, t-shirt, whatever, if you're not in a position, nothing else you could do, please just share that on your Facebook page when you see it up there, because we want as many people to know about Resurgence. We want this mission, which, quite frankly, Todd lost a big contributor not too long ago, a corporate contributor, and we really want to make sure that this program is there for these guys and hopefully one day ladies too, that protect our freedoms and protect our securities.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Hey, we got Sandy on.
Yeah. Does that cover all the housekeeping?
I think we're good, man. I've talked plenty now. I've talked for, oh my gosh, we've talked for 15 minutes. Let's get to our guest already.
Well, I mean,
that's why everybody's here.
That's all important stuff. No doubt about it. That's what keeps us going. So guys, anyway, we have with us tonight, Sandy Graves. A few weeks ago or a month or so ago, we were at the Swanee fly-in and we met this guy named Sandy Graves. He approached us all and talked to us for a little while. And he has the idea or had the idea of starting a search and rescue organization where we can use these paramotors that we love to fly so much and possibly help to locate missing persons or objects. So we all signed up. I know David did, and Dave did, and I did, and he's emailed us. And so we've been in communication. We've started a chapter here in Florida, the Sky Pirates, and we're looking forward to getting going with it. So welcome, Sandy. Thanks for coming along tonight.
Thank you, Gorilla. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I posted a little video about it yesterday, and I've had mostly positive comments. Everybody's interested in it and would like to get involved with it. So we're pretty excited about it. So Sandy, tell us a little bit about yourself, about your history, and how you got where you are today.
Well, I'm retired from the fire department, and I going all the way back to as far as my experience with working with ropes and lines and stuff like that. In 1968 went in the Army. I was in the Army Special Forces with an A team. I was a scout swimmer with the A team, and also was on a mountain team for a short while. So I got used to working with ropes there. The nice thing about being on a scout swimmer team was we parachuted into the water, which a lot of people don't get to do. I learned a few things from that I never thought I'd ever use again, but here today, I think there's probably some application, particularly with respect to the search and rescue part. After that, I had a business for a while, a cabinet shop, and then I worked in the oil field in Texas for a few years, hanging from a rope there too, up in the derrick. And then I finally moved back to Florida, where I grew up when I was young. My dad was in the Air Force. He was stationed at what was then Pine Castle Air Force Base, and today is Orlando International Airport. And brought my family here, joined the fire department kind of late in life. Spent 17 years in the fire department. Out of that, 10 of it, I was on the special response team. We did high angle rescue and water rescue and stuff like that. And all of that kind of came together to create this idea of the search and rescue. As far as paramotoring goes, I decided on my 71st birthday that I would buy a paramotor and learn how to fly as sort of a gift to myself, if you will. I am a novice flyer. I've got 19 flights, so that's not really my strong suit, talking about the flying aspect of it. But as far as the search and rescue goes and what you're going to run into when dealing with law enforcement and the fire department, I've got a pretty good idea what's involved there.
Well, that's okay, because there are a lot of experienced pilots around that will lean heavily on your background and your knowledge to put this thing together. I mean, that's what we're thinking. So tell us a little bit about the teams, about the structure of the teams that we're setting up.
Okay. Well, the idea that I kind of came up with was to put together a team, to put together any kind of a search team. Your prime directive is to not become part of the problem. And that's going to be an issue if you're just going out as an individual and trying to come up and say, I've got a paramotor, how about I go up in the air and fly around and see if we can find somebody. Well, they're going to kind of shy away from that simply because in their eyes, you are a potential addition to the problem if you go down or whatever. So if you're going to put a team together, the safety of the pilot and the other people involved is going to be your primary concern. And that's why all these other team members come into play. You can also invite other search and rescue organizations. There's a lot of them out there that form just because it would be a lot of fun, which is kind of the underlying thing with why I want to do it with paramotor too. It really, really extends what you can do with a paramotor, as far as having something to do once you're up in the air. But excuse me, I lost my train of thought. As far as the safety of the pilot goes, you're going to have somebody on the ground, at least one person who runs the operations end of it, who basically is in contact with the authorities that are carrying out the search, whether it be the fire department or sheriff's office or police or whoever. And you're also going to need a person who is the direct ground support person for the pilot, helps him set up, has all the equipment ready to go, because you're probably going to have to move location in the event of an emergency. Or you may just be in a situation where if you want to do a downwind search, you're going to have to land somewhere other than where you took off. Ideally, you're going to have somebody with eyes on the pilot at all times. And the operations person is going to have sort of, I guess, electronic surveillance of where the pilot's going using all the programs that are available to track them. So you put that team together, and then you can, once you do some practicing, get some experience under your belt, put on a professional look. You know, I would say get uniforms. I'm going to wear a flight suit with patches. I'm going to look the part. And then when you're dealing with law enforcement and with whoever's running the search, you'll come across as being professional, having some authority on the subject, and they're more likely to use you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And that was one of the things that I stressed, or I think that we should stress, is that that's one of the cornerstones of the organization, is that we are self-rescuing. We're not going to become a part of the problem, you know.
Is there, real quick, as I'm hearing you talk, is there going to be a standardization of maintenance on these paramotors going into the air for the search and rescue to mitigate that type of a scenario where a pilot goes down, engine out, you know, maintenance related, et cetera, et cetera?
Well, there's I don't know that I would call it a maintenance thing. That one of the things that you have to keep in mind if you're going to go do a search, your equipment has to be in good shape. You know, it has to be reliable. If you're having problems, then you probably shouldn't use that piece of equipment to go do a search in. It has to be something that you really, really trust. And in addition to that, there are things that you can do that will enhance the ability of your safety in the search. And let me give you an example. Here in Florida, we have water everywhere. And there's lots of places in the United States like that. Up in Minnesota and you know, there's many, many places where you got more water below you than you do land. And I know that paramotoring and paramotor pilots have this fear of landing in the water, because for a long time, I guess up until recently, the #1 cause of death in paramotoring was drowning. But having parachuted and landed into water, I can tell you it's completely safe. It's probably one of the safest places you could land in an emergency. You just have to be prepared for it. One of the things I do, which probably seems strange to people, is I wear a life jacket every time I fly. And it's a rescue grade life jacket. It has like 1 inch of foam that covers my entire chest, my sides, and my back. So in addition to keeping me warm and giving me lots of pockets to put stuff in, and being bright red and having reflectors on it, and keeping me afloat if I go in the water, it also protects my torso in the event that I have to go down in a crash in trees or something like that. I wouldn't fly without it, honestly. So that's one thing you can do. And recently, Tom, you pronounce his name Kabat, is that right? Or
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He did a series on flotation devices. I don't know if you saw that or not, but he recommended a particular brand, and I thought it looked pretty good. So I bought them and I put them on my trike. They're totally unobtrusive. If my trike goes in the water, they're supposed to inflate automatically. They'll keep the trike afloat. With me and my jacket in there, you know, I only have one belt holding me in place. So if I release that, there shouldn't be an issue. And there's other things you can do. I'm kind of going all over the map here on this thing, but if you're landing in water, normally when you land, you're going to want to land into the wind because it slows down your ground speed when you touch down. Water is exactly the opposite. When you hit the water, you're going to come to a screaming halt. There's not going to be any rolling or moving forward. And your wing is going to continue to advance forward. And if you're flying into the wind, your wing is going to fly forward, collapse, and drop right back down on top of you. If you're running downwind when you hit the water, your wing is going to continue to fly downwind and land away from you. But that's just one thing, you know, that you can do, that the many, many things that we can come up with to do this kind of search and rescue safely.
Danny, I want to ask you what I think is the skeptic's question of this whole thing, because I think it's a great idea. But here's the skeptic's question. Rick put out a video and kind of answered it, but no one really watches his videos anyway, so I thought I'd ask you, the expert. Okay, so as a paramotor pilot, unless I have gone to the school of Gluey and I learned, or aviators now teaching how to fly in thermals, I'm not really flying midday at all. So that really limits me to 2 hours after sunrise, 2 hours before sunset.
Right.
Okay, so there's very little time that I can go out and do a search and rescue. I obviously can't do it when it's dark out, because you can't do that. So the real question is why not just use drones? Now, Rick said in his video that drones aren't going to see what the human eye can see, but drones can stay stable over a certain location, as opposed to us that are zipping by very quickly and can't look down and take a good second look. So what's the benefit of paramotor pilots doing this as opposed to drones?
Well, there's a couple of things. Number one, I try to promote the idea that this is a social organization as much as it is just a hardcore search and rescue. So drones don't go out there and familiarize themselves with the area. You know, my concept of this is that a team will once a month or at least once a quarter, they pick an area in their neighborhood where somebody could conceivably get lost. You know, like a river, a part of a river, or an area where a fisherman might disappear, or who knows what. And you start out there and you create that's your area of specialty. You go fly that area, you do the whole thing just like it's real. You have ops running their end, you have your ground support chasing you around along with the medic and all. And you learn this area like the back of your hand. Well, you don't have to, if you get a call to that area, and if you haven't worked out a relationship with a local sheriff's office or whatever, you tell them, you know, hey, we know that area. Let's send us out there. We don't have to look around. We know the best places where they're probably going to be if anybody's lost. There's lots of places here in Florida that are like that. I'm surrounded by them. So my plan is to go out there and learn these areas with practice, have fun, and afterwards go drink some beers and all. And so I have what they call local knowledge that the drone is not going to have, or the drone operator. But in addition to that people do bring up the question a lot, you know, well, you can only fly in the morning and the evening. And that's right. And I wouldn't want to do anything else. But here in Florida, back in '92, I think it was, we had a series of tornadoes. We get a lot of tornadoes. We had a series of tornadoes come up from Kissimmee all the way up to Sanford, a distance of about 50 miles. And it killed 41 people. And I had just gotten in the fire department at that time, and it took them 3 days to find all the bodies. Now, I don't know what it's like in other parts of the states, and it's going to vary from place to place, but typically here in Florida, if we get a really severe storm, it's followed by 2 or 3 days of absolute calm, whether it's a hurricane or a tornado storm or whatever. So you do have that window, and you can get up early in the morning and take advantage of that 2.5 hours or so. Same thing at sunset. Yeah. I've written articles in my blog about why, typically sundown signifies an emergency. If somebody's missing and they're not home by dark and there's no good reason why, then they're officially missing, probably in the eyes of the law and everybody else, unless there's some other underlying reason. Okay, so you're going to be doing most of your searches in the morning to start out with, because you'll get the word and you'll study the area, the ops person will. And you'll be there at the crack of dawn. Actually, you'll be there before that. Everybody sits around, strategizes, drinks coffee at the command center. And then half hour before sunup, the wings set up. 15 minutes before sunup, you're in the air doing your search. Searching in the evening is a little more problematic, because if you do have an issue and you go down, it's going to be dark really soon. And if they for some reason lost track of you, it's going to be harder for them to locate you. And if you're injured in particular, it could be a really bad issue. So I don't recommend searching it in the evening unless there's no other choice, unless you have really good time to prepare for it. Typically people are tired then, they make mistakes, you know, so ideally you'd want to do search in the morning.
Yeah. I'd like to say a couple things about the drones and searching with drones, because I have some firsthand experience. I was a RC and drone pilot before, and not that I had the most state-of-the-art drones, but I had some of the DJI products, the Phantom, and then stepped up to the Mavic. And we used those quite extensively to look for like lost remote control airplanes that would get lost in the trees and swamps around our flying field. And it was difficult. You can never see on a screen, no matter how good the resolution is or how big the screen is, what the human eye can pick up, the tiniest color change or glint or movement. And you have that peripheral vision that you don't have on a screen. Something might catch your eye that's over there that the drone might not even see if it's not looking at or focused on. So I think the human eye is always way better than a drone. Now, drones have the ability to carry like FLIR cameras and things like that. Honestly, we could do that too if we wanted to.
I would add, anybody that's ever done any video work, you know, even with the Hero 7s, now the Hero 8s, think of the type of video that they shoot, and it's really impressive video. But if you've got that camera on your helmet and you go back and remember the flight, you see things in color, peripheral, much larger than you ever can on any of the cameras. much the same way as you, Rick. I come from the FPV world where I'd put airplanes out 10 miles, and you could do an hour and a half flight, but you just did not have the type of vision that you could ever hope for.
Yep, absolutely.
And Rick, with your organization, you've got, and a lot of the organizations the teams are probably going to be pilot heavy. And that's not really a bad thing, because there's really no reason why you couldn't put 3 pilots up at one time with one ops person running the whole operation. That person would communicate with one pilot. The other 2 would fly as wingmen some distance out. You could cover 3 times the area with 6 eyeballs instead of 2, you know.
Well,
Yeah,
and those 3 flying, the 2 could actually watch the 1. So now all of a sudden you've got 3 pilots,
right.
1 goes down, you've got 2 that can report.
Yeah,
that's right.
We've gotten pretty good at working as a team already, just because like one of us will be on the aviation radio and the 2-meter radio talking to the other 2, you know, so we kind of work as a team like that already all the time, and it's pretty cool.
Andy, I have a question for you. Undoubtedly, you know your stuff. I mean, that explanation about why you land with the wind behind you as opposed to into the wind if you're going into water was something I've never considered or heard about before. Jim Furman brought up a great question here, and I'm sure you've already know this. I'm going to share my screen here. I went on to the Our Paramotor Nation website and scrolled down to the part where you can get FAR 103. So here in FAR 103.1, it says here, is to be used or intended to be used for recreational or sports only. How do we get past that?
Well, what I would do, I go back to this thing about this is fundamentally a social organization. You know, if you want to just say you're pretending, that's fine, you know, but there's nothing to prevent you from pretending to go out and do search and rescue as a social organization. And then when the need actually arises, and I can't imagine they would say, well, hell no, that you're having too much fun.
Yeah, we're not compensated for doing this. We do this because it's fun, because we want to. Right. So it's sport.
Right.
I think you just answered that question perfectly. Thank you. Rick, what other questions do we have in the chat?
Okay, let me go back for a minute here. Just 1 second here. I'm a little slow.
By the way, while you're waiting for Rick, this is a good time to crack open a beer. If you don't have one, please.
Rick, actually, I have a question. Now, we've been talking about search and rescue. I'm just curious if we're going to be, you know, training with these fine folks behind me, or, you know, what type of training will we be doing?
That looks kind of like my team, but a little different. Yeah, a little different, almost.
This gentleman here carrying that rescue float, that is you, right?
Yeah, that's me. That's me. Okay. I would like to be on that team. Okay, guys, I'm sorry. I'm having a hard time with the chat. There are a lot of questions in here. Dave, can you help me out?
One more point.
Yes, go ahead, Sandy.
Yeah, one more point about the drone part of it. When you're actually doing a search and rescue in the fire service, when you go into a structure, you do 2 searches. You do a primary search and secondary. Primary search, you go in looking for, you can't see your hand in front of your face. So basically you're just using pattern and field to find your way around. There's quite a bit to it, but then you do a secondary search, which is you go and you hopefully don't find anybody dead that you missed on your primary search. Well, in airborne search and rescue, I kind of foresee the same thing. In your primary search, you're going to go up to about 300 or 400 feet, maybe 500 feet, and do a broad search. Just look and see what's down there. Look for anything that's the color's wrong or something's moving, or you might want to run over and check out some abandoned cars or old buildings or something that where a person might likely go to, you know. And then you go back to doing your 100 feet above the ground pattern search to check everything, you know. So I don't know how practical that is for a drone, but if you could spot them from 500 feet, your search would be over in 15 minutes, you know.
Yeah. Yep. Good point. So we have a question.
Oh, I'm sorry, Rick.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, Dave.
More I'm hearing this, I think it's a wonderful idea. It's almost like you're mixing an Icarus race in the fact that, you know, you could spend the night someplace, and the solutions of putting 2 or 3 pilots up at the same time, train them in some light survival in case they do have to go down and spend the night, and train them in light medical, you know, in case they're the first responders, because if they can land, they can indeed be a first responder. And it sounds like, at that point, you work it out with the FAA at a special exemption, underneath a search and rescue tag. You've got yourself a great idea with an aircraft that can take off in 200-300 feet and land in less than 100. I mean,
The good thing, Dave, on our team, we have 2 EMTs on our team that are pilots and firemen / EMT. So we have medical guys on our unit already. So, and that's
yeah,
part
these
of.
guys are flying midday to keep up with their thermal practice. I mean, they can fly from half hour before to, right down to sundown and fly all day if weather allows.
And we
As
have
I'm
pilots in our group that have done specific thermal training and are comfortable to fly all day long. I'm thankfully not at this point, but we do have guys that are experienced like that.
Rick, as I'm hearing more of this, it's just making me think, that this would be something fun for people to start practicing and doing. But another thing it kind of reminds me of is, I don't know if did you ever hear of a geocache, where you go look for a treasure, and you could do that with like a paramotor? I think that'd be a fun idea.
Like Anthony did.
Yeah.
Anthony what?
Well, that's
Anthony Vella just did a video. Did you see that?
No, the last video he did was his wing getting chopped by Clint.
No, they did a paracache where they took a cache out. He took it out.
Dave, this guy right behind me.
You did? You serious?
Yeah, where you been?
Oh,
It's awesome.
okay. All right.
Yeah, check it out. It's cool.
let me throw something in here real quick.
Yeah, go ahead. Then I got a question from the chat. We'll start those when you're ready. Go ahead, Sandy.
Okay. Yeah, one of the other big social aspects of this is doing competitions, and there's all sorts of competitions that you can come up with that you could do at fly-ins that are directly related to search and rescue. You can have specific search and rescue fly-ins where teams compete against each other to find certain targets in a time frame, or just all sorts of things.
Yeah, you could almost make it like a search and rescue scavenger hunt type of contest or competition. That would be cool.
Yeah.
We had a question here from Chad B for Sandy. What type of equipment should a team look to invest in? Location devices, flotation, etc.
Well, it's going to vary. The foot launchers and trikes both bring a different aspect to the search. One of the great things about if you want to go with a foot launching rig is that you can land right there. It's a good possibility you can land if the victim or target is in any kind of distress. Trike's a little more problematic as far as landing goes, but then they can carry more equipment.
I can land. I just might not be able to get back out.
Quickly on the first aid thing, that on the jacket that I carry, on my life jacket, I carry a tourniquet on here and I carry a space blanket. And because the 2 things you need to be able to do if you are injured in a crash is keep yourself warm and stop the bleeding until somebody can get there. I also found a neat little air horn that you blow into. It's not a gas operated one, and it'll blow your eardrums out. It's amazing. I actually, on my most recent blog, I have a little section on it. But all of that I carry on my jacket along with a seatbelt knife and stuff like that. But the flotation, let me get the flotation real quick. The ones that I got from PPG Smoke, I think it is. Is that right?
Yeah.
They're really nice. I mean, they're large and they're sturdy, and if they work like they're supposed to, they're really an answer to a big problem. And I do advocate keeping yourself with the ability to land in water if you have to, but particularly if you're doing a search over swamps and forests and stuff like that, if you can land in the water, that's by far and away the best choice rather than trying to go down in a forest or some other place with obstacles.
Sandy, I'm looking at your website right now, and I see it doesn't look like there's links, but it says gear and app reviews. Do you have all the stuff that you use and that you keep with you listed on here somewhere?
No, I don't. All that stuff is in that website's in development, but that's stuff that's going to be coming as I can add it on and as I become more acquainted with it. I do want to mention something about.
If you guys subscribe to the blog, Sandy puts out a blog every couple days.
Yeah.
He put out one a few days ago that had all of the equipment he's talking about the air horn and the flotation devices and stuff. Sorry, Sandy, go ahead.
That's okay. The homepage is designed so that the teams have a chance to. It's actually the website is basically a center for information for all the teams to put all their stuff on there, and everybody learn from each other what works and what doesn't and so forth. So if you put together a team and you develop your shoulder patch, you send that to me. I put a link on it. Right now there's 2 on there. There's Rick's squadron and my squadron. They're not active because we don't have websites for them yet, but when you click on them, they'll take you to the team's website, okay? Now, if you can produce good quality videos, the videos will be highlighted over to the right, if you can see. And as videos come in, if I think the content is really valuable and adds good points to the search and rescue part of it, I'll go ahead and post them on there no matter what your rating is. But you stay at the top of that matrix as long as you're producing really good videos. And up at the top above, you'll see there's a series of stars. Now what those stars do is, if you're involved in a search and you can get a letter of commendation from whoever is the administrator of the search, whether it be the sheriff's department or fire department, and that's a common thing for them to do. They will issue letters of commendation. People get them all the time for their resumes if they do some outstanding thing on a scene. But if you're involved in a search and you can get a letter of commendation that says that you contributed to the search in a positive way, or words to that effect, then you get what's called a silver star, and it goes into one of those little stars on the bar. That's also, if somebody clicks on that, that takes them to an article on your blog site or website that explains exactly what happened and why you got that letter of commendation, how you were involved, what you did, and so forth. That's real life experience. If you are the person who is actually responsible for the rescue, in other words, you spot the person, you notify the authorities, they come and get them and all that, and you can get a letter of commendation to that effect, you get a gold star. And those are what determine where you stand in the ranking on that matrix. The more you have of those, that you're up at the top and on the left-hand side. So people are going to go to your stuff first. That's going to drive traffic to your blog site. When they go there, you can use, hopefully you get to the point where you could monetize the site if you had enough traffic.
I'd like to mention Sky Pirates. We're number 1 right now, number 1.
The only one.
It's only one, but okay. I had a question from the chat from Mark P. Sandy, how do you begin coordination with local authorities? And he also asked insurance requirements or personal liability exposure.
Okay, that's a good question. Here's the fastest way to do it. The fastest way to do it is to go to the fire station. If you know anybody, any fire station, doesn't matter what, go in there, take your paramotor in and show it to the guys, and they'll be all over it, I'll guarantee you. And so what you do, you need to develop a relationship with, you can do the same thing with the sheriff's department, only I haven't dealt with them that much, so I naturally default to the fire department. Develop a relationship with them and try and work your way up to visiting what they call the house that has the special response teams. Those are kind of like the special forces guys of the fire department. They do all the really dangerous stuff, collapse, high angle rescue, water rescue, all that kind of stuff. Then you try to recruit them. When you go into them, just, don't say, hey, can we help you? Go in there and say, hey, any guys interested in getting involved in one of our teams, become a member. They can work at the medic end or operations or whatever. More likely than not, you're going to get a lot of excitement and people that are interested. Okay, that's how you get your foot in the door as far as dealing with the authorities. Once you know a few people, they're excited about what you're doing. That gets you an introduction into when there's an event. Okay, if you can show them an actual track record of how you're doing it and all that, then the next thing you have to figure out is how can you be notified when there is a search emergency. Usually that comes up on the news, 4 o'clock in the afternoon or something like that. And when that happens, then your ops person contacts us, what's the deal and all this. Then you contact the person at the fire department that and you say, hey, we'd like to get involved with this if possible. Hopefully it'll move up through the chain of command. It's just a matter of working it. Over time, you start to develop a relationship with the search and rescue people that are in place right now. And that's how you slowly but surely move your way in. It seems like it's far-fetched, but a missing person is local news. And it's a pretty good bet that there's a missing person every day somewhere in the United States. So if you have these teams spread all over the United States, sooner or later, you're going to start producing saves. And once that happens, you're going to be in the news. And once you're in the news, then you start building credibility. And between your professionalism and your practice and all that and your contacts and getting that kind of exposure, that's what's going to get you doing the searches.
Sandy, what you set up here is remarkable and extremely well done, I have to say. I have a question here. It's from Dinger51. There's a couple questions here, but have you run any simulations or live drills yet?
No, I'm still in the process of putting my team together. I do fly over the land that I plan on searching, so I'm getting a really good feel of what I'm going to be up against. I have my my medic. He's a guy that was in the fire department with me. He's really, really good. He's a expert with rope work, and he is going to be. I'm going to go up and take this tree rescue class in Atlanta. There's an outfit called Tree Climbers International, and they have a class on tree rescue. In the fire department, we practice rescuing people from buildings, from water towers. I've done it from side cranes, all kinds of stuff, but we've never done it from trees because they just can't really see, you know, but that's most likely where a paramotor is going to wind up. So we're going to start developing the art of how to get safely out of a tree, you know, and it should be a lot of fun. It's something we can make a competition with, you know.
Oh, it's so much fun being in a tree, let me tell you.
Some of us know from experience, David.
Getting bark out.
So
a lot of fun. So in your how many people do you have in your team so far assembled?
Right now I have 2 people. I have my ground guy and I have my medic, and then there's me. I still need a person.
Okay, and Rick, how many do you have in yours?
I think we have 7 right now.
Okay, and with those numbers, how many of those are trike or quad flyers, or let's just call it wheels. Let's not call it trikes anymore. Let's call quads and trikes wheeled launching units and foot launching units. How many do you have?
There is only one a perfectly endowed wheel launcher. The rest of them are slightly handicapped foot launchers. They don't have the benefit of wheels like I do, unfortunately. Who knows? Maybe someday they'll come over, but they'll get the job done when need be. I count on my team.
Sandy, how about you? What are you flying, Sandy?
I've got a fresh breeze trike.
Trike, okay. Is there a benefit to being one or the other in an operation like this? Will you go feet or wheels on the ground, or will you just report it in? Because obviously, my thought is this: if you're deep in, and it's going to take a while for some EMS to get to you, you may be the first person there to respond. In which case, depending on the ground, you're probably going to have a better chance getting to that person if you're on feet.
That's right. If you're actually going to try and make a landing and render aid, then yeah, I think that probably the foot launchers is better. That goes back to the thing we were talking about, having multiple pilots in the air. If you can have somebody, if you need to carry equipment, put that on the trike, and then have your foot launcher fly as wingman. And if somebody needs to go down and assist, then the foot launcher has a better chance of landing and doing that than does the trike guy, obviously. Unless there's a road nearby or something where we can put down.
Right. In which case, I'm sure you're calling.
If you're flying solo, it's probably a toss-up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I haven't been paying attention to the chat too much, guys.
Hey, Dave.
Yes, sir. Yes, that is a tree, and that is a tree, and I have seen those before. And since you're showing that, Dave, I was sent this picture.
Don't do it, Dave.
So Dave, would you? Sorry, we're gonna change the subject.
Wait, can we mute him? How do we mute him?
I don't think Rick really wants to do that. Would you explain what the heck we're looking at here, Dave?
That's my horse.
Thank you. I think I'm good. I don't need to say anything else. Yeah, you want to explain it, you can, but I'm just gonna leave it there for the rest of the show.
So for my birthday party, my horse got pimped.
I can't look at this thing.
I'd rather
look at Larry DeChico wearing a cardigan bra than that thing.
I couldn't ride my horse for like a week out here in Texas for fear I was going to get shot.
I don't know where Nicole is tonight, but I would think she would have a real problem with this.
No, I think she'd probably think it was cute.
Okay, sorry, Sandy.
We've had a lot of questions in the chat. I've actually been having a hard time to keep up with them.
Toxic.
I'm just down at the bottom, and Jim Furman said, "How do you avoid being collateral damage and needing rescue yourself?" And we just kind of touched on that again. We are the one of the cornerstones of the whole deal is that we're self-rescue.
Sandy, before you answer that question, let's just say to anybody that's posted a question in the chat, since it's kind of hard to scroll back up there, if you have a question that hasn't been answered yet, just go ahead and put it in there again, and Dave and I will keep an eye on the chat there for you.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Sandy. Jim was asking, how do you avoid being collateral damage and needing rescue yourself?
Well, primarily make sure that your equipment's in top not shape. You know, you don't go doing a search if your equipment's iffy, then just, you know, you really don't, you'll ruin it for everybody if you go down. It'll be a black mark against the whole thing, you know. But like Rick said, we are self-rescuing, and you know, if there's no harm other than the pilot's just wound up out of the sky and on the ground, and I wouldn't make a big deal out of it. You know, I'd pack up and go back and just, you know, say we had a little issue. But if there's injury involved, it's going to be a little different. You know, you're going to have to notify search authorities so they can get a rescue unit there to get the person transported. But the main thing is, you know, just know your area really well. Constantly think about, where would I put down if I were here? You're flying. You also need to practice. It's something you can't really do, but you know, if you have a motor out at 100 feet, you need to consider, if your motor goes out and you're at mid throttle or so, then it's probably not going to restart. Don't waste your time trying to restart it. If you're idling low and it goes out, then you might want to try it one time, but you got seconds. So you need to practice in your mind over and over again what you would do. But basically just, you know, it's straight and level flying. There's not a lot that can go wrong other than an engine out. So make sure that your equipment is in good shape.
All right. It says, how do you get around DHS and TRFs?
DHS?
I would guess.
Department of Homeland.
What is DHS?
Well, you talking about as where in the areas that you fly? Well, if you have restrictions in the area I fly, there's a lot of restrictions. I have airports everywhere surrounding me. But that's the job of the ops person. The first thing they're going to do when they find out where the parameters of the area is, you know, the search administrator is going to say, okay, you're going to be looking between highway here, highway here, highway here, and the river or whatever. That's the area we need you to search. Okay. Pull it up on Google Earth, look at it. Hopefully you're familiar with it. Mm-hmm. Then you want to sectionals, check them out. If there's any places that have restrictions, you call and see if you can get a clearance, you know, to go ahead and use that area, explain to them what you're doing. And then the last thing I would do, if it's on the water, I would go ahead and pull up your navigation charts, marine navigation charts, your NOAA charts, and check them out too. There's a lot of information on there. When you pull up your sectionals, look at all of the hazards, all the towers and stuff like that, and then go find them on Google Earth so you can see what it is for real. That's what the ops guy does, and then he translates that. All the pilot saves him all the time. He says, you know, you got 3 towers in this area. I'm going to be watching you. I'll tell you where they're at when you get close. If you don't see them, if I don't think you see them, you know, so forth.
I mean, I think the whole point is that you've been saying is that you've been flying around the areas and you're familiar with the areas because those are the areres that you're flying around. So you're not flying around in areas that are restricted anyhow. So it should be relevant if they say, hey, I need you to go fly over there and see. Well, I'm not familiar with that area. I can go fly, and if there is a restriction, you'll look that up ahead of time.
Right. If you develop a reputation, you're probably going to get called to areas that you're not real familiar with, but are relatively close by, just because they've heard you do really well and they want you to do it. In that case, you're starting from scratch. But hopefully, normally you'll be flying in an area that you've already flown. Yeah.
There was a question, and Rick, maybe you can answer this. How do you go about making a patch? How'd you make your patch, Rick?
We came up with the design and just did it on computer. I use a program called PicMonkey, and I designed a patch. Well, then actually Partha designed a patch, and actually we used Partha's. Mine had a skull in it, and it really wasn't appropriate for a search and rescue. So
there you go.
Partha designed that using some online program similar to that, but PicMonkey is what I use, and it would do the same thing. And then you submit that with your team information to Sandy, and Sandy will have the patches made. He has a few patches made and sends them to you.
That's right. Yeah, if you come on as a team, I'll send a ASAR National shoulder patch to each of the original members up to 5. That's a picture of it if you can see it. I don't know if you can see it on there or not.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's not blue. That's actually great. And as far as my patch, I designed it on MS Paint. It was pretty easy. I mean, that was this one right here. I'll show you that one. That's our patch. Patches are fun too. People like them. They'll collect them. You know, you can actually. Yeah. That's one of the ways if you try and raise money for your team to buy equipment, stuff like that. You know, you can sell merchandise on your blog.
So there's a
Yeah.
question and a little bit of, I don't know if you'll know the answer to this. Someone asked here about getting around Department of Homeland Security or other municipal obstructions. And D. Thomas said that the environmental marshal has the highest jurisdiction on the land. Do you know if that's correct?
Mhm. No, I don't really know anything about that at all. But like I say, if they're, I'm not sure how that would actually become an issue. I can see if you landed in a swamp somewhere, Fish and Wildlife may show up. But like I said, if you're wearing a flight suit with patches, you look halfway legit, and you know what you're talking about, and I don't think you have anything to worry about.
So one thing we know about this show is that we don't have all the answers. That's kind of why we discuss it, to try to find out if we have all the answers. One answer I can tell you is that if you do land in a swamp, your buddies will be videotaping you and sending it to any news channels they can. Isn't that right, Rick?
Yes. Sometimes it'll get you on national television.
That's true.
That's
Yes,
right.
yes.
Heyo. All right.
So Jim Furman says, I hate to be the wet blanket, but you guys are talking patches and gold stars on the website. You need to be talking training and integration with FEMA and your county emergency management. One of the things that we said, this is a social based club to start with. That's how we stay within part 103, right, Sandy? We do this for fun, and we want to volunteer
That's exactly right.
and try to help out with local
Yeah.
local responses. So.
Yeah, I get a lot of people that they'll say, well, you need to go talk to Civil Air Patrol, or you need to go talk to USAR or whatever, Well, we don't really want to become part of that. I mean, I was in Civil Air Patrol when I was young, and we never did any searches. A lot of that stuff has become so politicized, and they're all right fighting over money for a few people to get airplanes to get up in the air. And the thing is, if you associate yourself or become affiliated with some sort of government agency, the regulations are going to start falling out of the sky as to what you can and can't do. As long as you keep it just a club. This gets back to the liability thing too. That's one of the advantages is you can work for the local governments for free, and you don't really pose a liability for them. You know what I mean? They're something they don't have to worry about, but at least less so, I should say, if it's a public or organization that's out there doing something of a voluntary search assistance or whatever.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Since I posted that video, I can't tell you how many people have said, talk to the local Civil Air Patrol. We're not that, and we don't want to be that, right?
Right.
I do know.
We want to be.
I do know,
ahead.
drawing a similar from my college days, we used to at night go out and play a game called hide and seek on the CB. And one person would go hide, and then we'd use CBs and start asking them questions north, south, east, west of certain streets. And you eventually dial them in and find them. And we did this for about a year or two. And the police used to pull us over asking us, hey, what are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. And as they started figuring out what we were doing, we were out there tearing stuff up. They started figuring out that we knew the streets very well. And they would sometimes actually come ask us, hey, did you see this person? See this car go by? And it started coming into a point to where we would actually help the police. It sounds to me like you guys are probably doing this the right way, where it's just a club. Word starts getting around. Hey, what are they doing? Oh, they're doing their monthly training for search and rescue. Oh, I didn't know they did search and rescue. Next thing you know, you might get asked because they can't put a helicopter up or it's too expensive or whatever. That it takes one find.
Well, you'll be on the national news.
Yeah, I don't think we're looking to. I don't think Sandy is looking to create a something that's going to be. I mean, again, this is fun. This is fun, and if it can be of a help, we're prepared to do it. Is that kind of the idea there, Sandy?
This brought to mind a quote that I heard a little while ago, and I had to look it up. It was from George Bernard Shaw. People who say it cannot be done should not interrupt those who are doing it. So there'll be naysayers for everything, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Well, if nothing else, it's a good excuse for a bunch of people to get together and go have some fun, go through a rag doll someplace.
There you go.
Somebody knows where it is, start giving coordinates and go find it.
Right.
Hey, it's an excuse to get in the air. It builds skill, and
Right.
it might come in handy someday.
Yeah, just imagine if you have a clubhouse somewhere, you got pictures on the walls of teams and events and stuff. You got old wings hanging from the rafters, and just, it sounds kind of crazy, but you know, it's the camaraderie of the something dangerous like this is really something that's fun to do.
Well, it's fun to do, and if nothing else, if nothing ever, you know, comes of it, you guys have a lot of fun. And if something does come of it, you guys have a lot of fun. I mean,
Yeah.
where is the bad in it?
And like I said,
Right.
instead of saying, hey, could me and my friends go out and play in your field and fly? Hey, would you mind if we come out and do some training exercises on your property for our search and rescue club, you know?
That should open up a lot of areas.
And if it changes perception of one person or a few people in the public a little bit to our sport, it's a positive thing. How can it be anything different? So good stuff, guys. All right, what do we got for questions? Rick Wetzel, how or what do you do for practice? That's a good question.
Well, with the area that I'm in, I just basically go up and I don't typically go above 400 feet. I just it's kind of nice to go up and look around a little bit, but it's just as easy and nice to stay at 400 feet. I practice everything there. I haven't gotten down to where I'm real comfortable flying at 100 feet yet because nobody's watching me. That when I get down that low, my ground support guy can't see me anymore. And if I do go down, he has no idea where I went down. So, but at some point, I want to just, you know, treetop or I think 100 feet is a good height. It's going to vary too, the area you're searching. Some areas, if they have wide spreading trees, you're going to have to get low enough you can see below the trees, underneath the branches and stuff. So that's up to the pilot, though. That's the pilot's call as to how low he feels safe going on the search.
Yeah. So I guess, you know, like anything else, we're always going to have naysayers, and that's okay. And I try not to take it personal, but it's not, you know. So
let me mention one thing real quick. You guys might know something about this but I know that Palm Beach Police Department did have a couple paramotor flyers who were doing beach search and rescue. And I think it lasted as long as they were with the department. When they left, it kind of died away. So a lot of people cite that as an example of why it can't be done. But I would say that, you know, flying up and down the beaches lined with condos full of retirees that are super, super tax conscious of where their tax dollars are going and stuff is a no starter, you know, a non-starter, I guess is the right word. So you need to have a comprehensive nationwide program where it pops up everywhere and, you know, and they're all working in coordination, exchanging ideas on what works and what doesn't work. And if you get that going, I don't think I think it's unstoppable.
had a question in the chat from Yak Bait. Hey guys, wondering how you will be coordinating with other SAR departments or units.
Yeah, that's a good one. Matter of fact, if you keep in mind the fact this is a social club and it's not just a flying club, it's using the paramotor as a primary search platform. But there are all sorts of other search clubs out there along the same line. They just like to get together and have fun. And you'll find them with dog owners. You'll find them with Jeep clubs. You'll find them with jet ski clubs. You'll find them with airboat clubs. Those are good people to get in touch with because they can supply you with that end that you need. You know, you tell them what you're doing and they'll, hell yeah, I'd like to jump in my airboat and go chase a paramotor guy up and down the river. That'd be fun, you know? And so they're a really good resource. You can actually draw them, not necessarily away from their club, but have them work in combination with you and your club, you know?
Absolutely, yeah.
Was that? Are you in the bathroom? No.
Nope.
I saw a towel.
Yeah, Dave. She's in the bathroom sitting on the toilet right now live because, you know, Gorilla does that.
It's like something I would do.
That
Hey,
is
Nicole.
Not where I'm at.
Nicole, how
Hi.
you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you guys doing?
We're good.
Very good. Anthony Perez says, I'm all in, but ASAR being involved must be registered with.
Oh, sorry, guys.
This is why we can't have nice things.
She muted herself. Oh my.
She's stumbling already.
Oh boy.
Oh, we know where she just got back from. What was that question there, Rick? And then that Mike folk.
Anthony Perez commented, I'm all in, but ASAR being involved must be registered with the government.
No, it's a virtual association. There is no real building where ASAR is located. All this is an association of clubs. Use a website as the nexus where all the ideas get exchanged. That's all it is. There's no money changed hands between any of the through the website for any reason. You know, all the finances are perfect, are completely within the clubs themselves.
Yeah,
it's just basically a clearinghouse for ideas is all it is.
Yep. I agree with D. Thomas. Never register with the government. Come and get them. If you think you can, come and get them. Yeah, I
There's
didn't
a
say
question from Mike Fogel earlier about what type of radios are you using?
Right now I use a airband radio. The airstrip that I take off of, you have to take off on the runway. You can't avoid it. So they require that I announce all of my actions and intentions and basically use radio speak. I have a little walkie-talkie that I was using with my ground support, but the problem I had was I just couldn't understand with the noise from the engine what was being said. So what I have considered doing, and I think it's a good idea, is a series of click codes. And they don't have to be very complicated. There's not a whole lot to say. Basically, you can tell them to return to base, and you would be talking to the pilot. The pilot, I have a hard time understanding what's being said. So if my ground support person was responding to me in clicks, I'd know exactly what he was saying. Or if the team members were, if the team members had different codes to let you know who they were and what they were wanting, you know, it's not really involved. Actually, I did an article on my blog about it. And the pilot could talk. Everybody's going to understand him. They're not bothered by engine noise.
Yeah, I'm still fighting engine noise too. I think half of it is using a cheap $35 Bofang radio. So that's my next investment, is buy a better 2-meter radio. I have good luck with my aviation radio now with my new helmet, but the 2-meter is still Okay, what do we have for questions?
Well, there's a question in the chat here for Dave Trikeflyer. I don't know if you saw this, Dave. The question was, what the heck is this, Dave?
The hell is that?
It's kind of hard to see the pictures, but is that a lobster on your nose?
Looks like a lobster tail, yeah.
Is that a lobster tail on your nose?
Excuse me for a second. I need to go kill Sarah.
Okay. His question. Fortunately, Sarah has my my contact to send me good pictures of Dave. I wish you could have seen the whole picture. It was just it was kind of smushed together there.
Okay, I'm scrolling back through the
Actually, real quick, she got real mortified the night that I put the shrimp heads on all 5 of my fingers and did a puppet show for the whole restaurant.
Oh, that was
You see what we deal with, Sandy?
oh my goodness. This is why we can't have nice things.
Oh, Nicole, I'll do the same thing with you and Reason when I get out there.
I know. I know.
So very good, very good. So I guess our unit now, we're going to start. If you guys haven't already seen, look in the description. There is a link to the ASAR website, and you can, Sandy, I think you can subscribe to the blog right through there.
That's right. Yeah, it's up in the main menu at the top.
Sandy puts out a ton of information every couple of days. He has a blog. The guy is full of knowledge. And so our unit, I think now that we've put it together and ordered our T-shirts and patches, we're going to start doing some training and start to learn how to search grids. And then at that point, our plan is to reach out to some of the property owners around the airport and see if we can possibly organize a mock-up search where we can hide a person or something out somewhere and actually do the search grids and see if we can find it. We're going to go to the dollar store and buy a baby doll or something. And I don't know.
Why don't you just put beer in the field and give yourself a real incentive, Rick?
Gorilla Ground will drink it all.
That's true.
It would be fine, the pile of beer cans.
Rick Senior's going out to go hide the beer. No one can find it for days.
Yeah.
It's gone.
We learned about that one.
Wow.
So yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting. We're looking forward to it.
What's the next step, Sandy, what's the next step for you at this point?
I'm still trying to finalize my team. I found out that the Lake County has a radio club. I think I might have mentioned that already, but that's where I'm going to go to look for my ops guy, because they're all about emergencies. They see themselves as the people that are going to be doing all the communicating in a great crisis or a large emergency. And I think they'll be all over this. I can certainly find one member of the club that would want to do something like this. And he can hopefully help me sort out my issues with the radios that I'm having.
Okay. And Rick, who's your ground support?
Gorilla Ground. You know it.
Nothing's ever going to get done, right?
We got Gorilla Ground and we got Paul Abishon, but he'll be in the air here shortly, so he'll be moving from ground support to pilot. But Gorilla Ground's a very competent ground support. He's traveled around with a trailer and followed us to various airports, picked us up and hauled us back many times. So
yep,
he's a good logistics guy, and we've been using the Glimpse app pretty often, so we can kind of he can kind of track where we're all at, and that's let's talk a little bit about that, Sandy, about the technology we can use. One of the questions we were thinking about today is maps. Dad asked if we would be using topographical maps or aeronautical charts. I think we'd be using a mixture of all, but probably most of all, Google Earth satellite maps seem to be the best resource to me.
Yeah, I'd start out with Google Earth because that gives you a general lay of the land, and you can zoom in pretty close to see stuff. And then go to your sectionals. Unfortunately, the sectionals, you can't get in real close, so you're kind of limited, but at least it lets you see what your restrictions you're having to deal with. And then if you're dealing with water along the coast or even on some of the big rivers, you can get the nautical charts and look at those, because all that stuff will give you information for plotting your search pattern. Yeah, and also looking out for obstacles.
Good stuff. Yeah, good stuff. So it's an exciting adventure.
Are those apps free, or is there a charge for those?
Yeah,
well, Google Earth is
right. As far as like the one that tracks the other pilots.
Oh yeah, the Glimpse app is free.
Glimpse.
And, yeah, Glimpse. GLYMPSE.
Okay.
And you can put it on your phone, and you activate the app when you start, and you can send the link by text to other people, and they can look on their phone and follow you. It shows your speed, your distance, shows you on a map. It's really cool.
That's fantastic for anybody flying together in groups.
This is an idea that I haven't done yet, but I've given some real consideration. We have a firehouse right next to the airport, right where the air station is. And I thought about getting a cell phone and just going in there and putting them on Glimpse and just telling the guys, hey, we're going to be flying for the next couple hours. If you get banged out for aircraft down, pick up this Glimpse and it'll tell you exactly where I stopped flying. I don't know how practical that is, but it's certainly an idea.
Yeah. Yep. Almost like a flight plan for PPG. Yeah. Very nice. I'm fortunate. We usually have several guys at the field flying at one time, and I always have ground support. Dad is pretty much there all the time. I'm lucky for that. And Dad or a couple other guys for ground support. So not everybody has that, I know.
Very cool.
I don't have any ground support.
No?
Dave, cue the sad music, please.
Yeah, Rick Wetzel asked if that's for iPhone. Yeah, it's for iPhone or Android or whatever. Just go to your app store, whatever that is, and look for Glimpse, GLYMPSE, and you'll see it. It's free.
It does use a lot of juice, so you might have to have a backup battery.
It does. It will use up a phone. Just constantly reporting the GPS and sending it out, updating I think you can go into setup and change how often it updates and can slow the battery usage down a little bit, but it still uses a lot of juice. So very cool. Yankee and SC1 is here. What's up, Todd? Welcome. I see you in the chat. We were talking earlier about your trifold.
For the airports.
Yeah, what's it called? The brochure. Yeah, the trifold brochure. I put one up at my airport. Haven't had anybody call me yet, raising hell, so that's good. So,
Rick, do you want? We're about to go into the post show here in just a few moments. Do you want? Do we want to send an invite out to anybody or to the chat if anybody wants to join in?
Yeah, if anybody wants to join, just send it out.
Okay. So in a few moments here, I'll go ahead and put a link in the chat Walter, I'm putting a link in the chat that everybody can click on, including you, and that should bring you right in, because I would like to be in the same boat as our friend Robert and be able to be as knowledgeable as him.
So we had a question from Stephen Arango. Do you guys have or will take medical training to help people that are hurt, first aid, etc.? Well, actually, ideally, we will have EMTs in our group, and our unit actually has 2 EMTs, firemen in our group. So to answer your question, yes.
I would recommend first aid training for any of the pilots at a minimum. Just a general first aid course.
Question here for Rick. Do you notice a loss of signal with glimpse at a high altitude? Well, I can answer that. Rick doesn't go over 500 feet.
No, I'm scared of heights. I'll stay low.
Yeah.
Now that is an issue. I know with some of the apps like PPG, GPS, if you get up at 2,000 feet, you lose that cell signal. So yeah, that could be an issue.
I don't think so.
What is that? There's a Garmin GPS live tracker out there. Someone mentioned earlier. That might be a good tool.
Mm-hmm.
Very good.
All right.
Hey, Rick.
Yeah,
There it is.
you got it. What's that called?
I just this is the InReach.
Okay,
I just got this about 3 days ago. Next time I go fly, I'm actually gonna bring it up.
good. And that tracks you all the time. It also gives you the ability to send a satellite-based locator beacon, right?
Yeah, I can hit the panic button and get help, and I can also send text. So I can, as far as I know, I can send text. I don't know if they're prearranged messages or if I can actually text.
Yeah.
But yeah, it basically keeps me in signal when I have no signal.
And that doesn't count on cell signal. That's a great tool. That's a good thing to have.
Yeah, with some of the cross countries and some of the places I'm going to be going from now until into 2020, I ended up invested in one.
Oh yeah. Yeah, very cool. Well, very good. Anybody else have any questions? I'm sorry if I missed any in the chat. It was really hard to keep up with. We had a busy show tonight, which is awesome.
Yep.
Thank you guys all for coming along and bringing your questions and comments, good or bad. Most of them were good.
Well, I'll go ahead and post that link here in just a few moments, just a second here. Again, next week, we've got the 3 different styles of training. Well, they can get trained, either self-train, free train, or training that you're paying for. So it's going to be a real good show. If you've got a lot of questions, send them over to me. We'll get to all of them. As you can see from tonight, when you get a lot of questions, it gets hard to follow the chat and stay on top of those. We need Sean. Sean's really good about that. So, and we're going to have 2 different giveaways. We're going to have one from Larry. Larry, if you're in the chat still, let us know what the bag lady's letting us give away. And then
I think she was going to give away Larry's trike is what I heard.
Yeah,
earlier.
that's what I saw in chat. It's Larry's trike.
actually, I got a text message from Chris. She's actually giving Larry away. That's the real, that's nothing worth value, but that's all right. And then one of our guests is going to be giving away a very cool strobe system that he created. So not his strobe system, but it is his strobe system that he created, but not his own personal one that he's keeping.
And I got stickers.
It'll be very cool. And you've got
giving away stickers.
Hey, Gorilla, why don't you send one of those this way? Sans the glitter this time.
Yes, you got it.
All right, here comes the
Is
link.
that the same address? Is that right? The right address?
Yeah, just make that out to Sarah Ehlers and she'll open it.
Okay. No glitter.
So yeah, let me tell that story real quick since we got people. I got a fan mail and it was addressed to me, but it had ended up going into the mail room. So Sarah Ehlers, the sticker of her name went on it. And I had also gotten a bunch of Amazon stuff for the trailer build. So Sarah opened that package with her name on it and it exploded. There was a nuclear explosion about as bright as a nuclear bomb and glitter went everywhere.
It wasn't just any glitter.
It wasn't just any glitter. It was that super fine micro, can't get it out of anything. So for about 2 weeks, we were trying to figure out who the heck sent that. And actually PPG Gorilla turned himself in because he had sent Dave a package with his handwriting on it. And I looked at the handwriting and then went out and looked at the handwriting and oh, it was gorilla.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
Wow.
It had a note on it. It said, Trike Flyer, Dave Ruff, fan mail, open on air. And he didn't.
Which I'm
Sarah
really
got it
glad I
open.
didn't, because had that gone off in the house or especially my RV. Ooh.
I'm just
Poor
gonna.
Sarah said she's still cleaning glitter out of everywhere.
Well, this is for Sarah right here, because Sarah
Dave.
really wanted this shown. Yeah, I'm
Dave.
sorry, Dave. I'm sorry,
Dave.
Dave. I'm sorry,
Dave.
Dave. No, Dave. I'm sorry.
Really?
Sarah asked me to show this, and
That is my impression of Elf. Okay.
wow. Wow. Dave, if you have a caption for that, I can't even begin. It's a lot of butter.
Yeah, I have a caption for it. It's called "I Have a Giveaway Tonight."
You have a
So
giveaway?
I'm putting on the chopping block tonight. One Sarah Ehlers. Now she does do windows. She does cooking. She also knits. She
Did you say
owns
she
her
does
own,
cocaine or cooking?
that too.
Oh, cool.
What?
You must separate your drugs, okay? Anyway, so yeah, we'll just go ahead and go to the Wheel of Doom. She's
Wheel of
lightly
Doom?
used, but still has good life.
Well, next week we will have the wheel up here or something. We're gonna have to have something up here so we can give away these prizes. So there you go. All right.
Rick Wetzel, email me. Go to my website in the contacts. Send me an email. I'll send you a sticker, man.
He's gonna charge you $20 for shipping, Rick. Don't do it.
And he'll put glitter in it.
No glitter.
Yeah, Yankee, it was one of those bank things where the glitter goes. And this sucker exploded.
I'm a big
Crockett
fan of
actually
that.
came up with something I wouldn't mind asking you. He said, I would love to train for the SR. You could strap a person to a trike or quad and fly them out if there was room to take off.
I think you'd have to have a pilot's license to carry a passenger, and then you might really be getting into the I don't know, the other than fun part of it.
Wait a minute.
Well, you just give them a flight lesson on the way out.
Wait a minute. Did that? You know what? I put the code in there, but now I'm looking at a different. It's not coming up, is it?
Mm-mm.
That's really weird. It doesn't come up. I put it in there twice, but it's not coming up.
That's because you're picking on me, buddy.
I wonder if. Let me try one more time because I'm looking at two different. I'm sorry, Walter.
My tentacles are far-reaching, just like Nicole's.
Oh, let's try this.
Is
one.
that the Zoom code?
Yeah.
Here, I'll post it.
But I posted it too, and it's not coming up. Oh, there. Oh, well, you did it too. See, why did it work for you, but not for me?
Because I'm running the show.
And there it is.
The
All
truth
right.
just came out.
Dang. Oh, Nicole's here. Hey, Nicole.
You
Where
know,
were you
one of these
tonight,
days-
young lady? Where were you earlier?
Well, since I am homeless,
Look at her hair. Look at her hair.
Where's Reason?
he's on his way back to Georgia.
Oh, yeah.
Stop it, Rick.
What?
No, actually, I wish, but no. So we are officially homeless. We have closed on our house, so we have no address. We were able to put a offer in on a new house because the other house fell through, and because the seller was just ridiculous. But anyway, so we have put an offer on a new house, and we were in Lakeland today trying to get an inspection done. And I just don't even want to tell you how disappointed I am in the listing agent. But that being said, we have now come back to Jacksonville, and we're staying with friends.
Back in Jacksonville?
Yep, I'm back in Jacksonville. I am staying with a friend. Reason is on his way to Georgia. And so I was.
Nicole, I love you.
I'm doing the best that I can right now.
That's the only reason why I like playing that music when you tell the story.
I am definitely doing the best I can right now.
Well, you and Reason need to come over to my place. We got lots of projects over here. We got lots of places to fly. Just come on down.
Mm-hmm. So like legit, we are homeless. We have no address. And Sarah sent me and a text message or a messenger message earlier today and was like, hey, you know, where can I send your Christmas card? And I'm like,
You just honestly, you just need to come down this way.
yeah, I have no address, Sarah. So don't even like.
I'll save it until after Christmas.
Yep. We're saving it until
sounds like
after
a
Christmas.
An
plan.
electronic card.
Yeah.
Send her a jib jab.
You know, actually, Nicole, in all seriousness, I mean, again, I love playing that music when you do that because I'm just, I'm trying to make you feel better. But honestly, with everything that was going on, the house that you guys were looking at and stuff like that, that wasn't the one. Even though you say you're homeless, you're not, because you just sold a home.
Yeah.
And that means you've got tons of options. I mean, you're looking at it as, well, I'm homeless, I'm this, I'm that. You've got
I mean,
tons.
I have options, but Rick, you're supposed to share.
Yeah. Well, guys, hey, listen, let's do this. Why don't we go into the after show, guys? We posted the link, stuff like that. Nicole, you and I are going to get drunk tonight on the after show, so that's cool. We'll poke fun at Dave. And
For real, I gotta be at work at 6 o'clock in the morning.
cool. So we got at least 3 hours to drink then.
Yeah, me too. Got to work early.
Rick, just that button on the YouTube one.
College days.
I have perfect.
Well,
Thanks, everybody.
yeah, guys. Sandy. Thank you very much, man. It was an informative show. I learned a lot. Hope everybody else did. If everybody has questions, go in the description. There's a link to the ASAR National website. Sandy has a blog post you can subscribe to on there. He's got a lot of information that comes out like every day or every other day. And it's going to be fun, guys. Hopefully we can get some more teams set up around the country and get involved in this. It's a good cause and it'll be fun anyway. So good. Thanks everybody for coming along.
Thanks,
David,
guys.
Dave,
Thank
Nicole,
you.
anybody else have anything? Sandy?
Just everybody be
No,
safe if you're driving and
I-
there's a lot of snow out there. I'm talking to the people north. If you're getting a lot of snow, just be safe. You know how to drive. Unless you're in Cincinnati, you don't know how to drive, but everybody else knows how to drive in snow. So just be safe, everybody, and we'll see you next week.
Be safe, fly safe, and we'll see you next weekend, Sunday night, guys. Thanks. Our Paramotor Nation is out.
Thank you.
See ya.